Shavua Tov, a good week. We look at this week with some concern, but ultimately with hope. First, on Friday, the United Nations Security Council will take up the issue of what is called Palestinian Unilateral Declaration of Independence. Also sometime during this week, the International Atomic Energy Agency will issue another report on Iran's development of nuclear weapons. First things first, and let's make no mistake about it. The Jewish Community Relations Council, the Jewish community of the United States, Israel, or at least a majority of Israelis, believe in a two-state solution. Two states for two peoples. A Jewish state of Israel, living side by side with a demilitarized Palestinian state, with the hope that both states will live in peace and be beneficial for the entire region. What we don't support is the unilateral Declaration of Independence in violation of the Oslo process. We're joined in that opposition by the United States government, by Canada, by Germany, by the United Kingdom, and by France. What the European Union, what the United States, what Russia, what the United Nations all support is direct negotiations between Israelis and Palestinians. Just this Friday, the UN Secretary General said that Palestinian application to memberships in the United Nations agencies is not beneficial. What is beneficial is for Prime Minister Netanyahu, who has already said he will negotiate without preconditions, to be joined at the negotiating table by Palestinian Authority Chairman Mahmoud Abbas sooner rather than later. Middle East peace, of course, is undermined by Iran, which is the leading world supporter of global terrorism by one state, according to the United Nations. The report due out this week by the International Atomic Energy Agency is supposed to detail further advances by Iran in its quest for nuclear weapons. Chillingly, one of these advances is purported to be steps Iran has taken towards implementing the physics of nuclear weapons detonation. Just this weekend, Israel's President Shimon Peres, himself a Nobel Peace Laureate, has said that Iran is not simply an Israeli problem. Indeed, by our lights, it's a problem for our Arab allies, it's a problem for the United States, it's a problem for Europe, it's a problem for the world order. There is increasing speculation in the world's media that armed conflict with Iran may be just over the horizon, if not imminent. This is a development of grave concern. Potentially, though, a development of even graver concern is an Iran armed with nuclear weapons. Here in the upper Midwest, we need to take the practical, concrete steps we can implement ourselves in order to thwart Iran's drive towards nuclear weapons. One of those steps is supporting the divestment of state pension funds from those companies doing business with Iran's energy sector. The JCRC has supported such legislation in conjunction with others and other groups in Minnesota, and was successfully passed in 2009, successfully passed in South Dakota in 2010, and now the JCRC, again in conjunction with others, is working on the same issue for North Dakota for 2011 and 2012. Please join us in these efforts. Finally, on Friday, the same day as the UN Security Council takes up the issue of unilateral declaration of independence by the Palestinian Authority, that day is also Veterans Day, November 11. And on that day, we recall the sacrifices of the Allied men and women of the United States, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, Canada, France, and the rest in ultimately defeating Nazism and Japanese militarism. Without those sacrifices, we wouldn't enjoy the freedoms that we have today in so many parts of the world. The Jewish people did their part globally to defeat the Axis. It should be noted that during the Second World War, much of the Arab world practiced malevolent neutrality, if not outright support, for Nazi Germany. It should be noted that the Mufti of Jerusalem, the titular spiritual leader of the Palestinian Arabs, spent the war in Berlin and was later designated a war criminal. So on Friday, let us recall who did what, to whom, in whose benefit during the Second World War. And let us remember today who it is that stands up for peace, freedom, and democracy. And for that, I bid you a good week. Thank you very much.